Okay. Professor Charles, you can start. You can start, Professor Charles.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night. Today is another special day that God has deemed fit for us to see. We give glory to God, the Father, God, the Son, and God, the Holy Spirit for this great opportunity. We thank God for how God used us yesterday. Today is another special day. Today we are still going to continue on the leading for positive change. It is always good to lead in a positive way so that the environment will be okay, the organization will be okay, the institute will be okay, the parish will be okay, everywhere will be okay, because we want a peaceful environment of which everybody will be happy and work accordingly to their hearts, not to work with their head, work with their heart. When you work with your heart, you'll be able to actualize success. We need success, global success all over the world. The SDG, we are promoting it to make sure that everywhere is stable. So for a place to be stable, we need to have positive change. Yes, we are going to start very soon. As soon as the slide is presented, we will start. Professor Nada, I appreciate you very well. May God continue to empower you as you are doing the work of education and the work of global peace. God will empower you richly too.
Okay, let me share the presentation, Professor Charles.
As we all know, in that slide, there are so many of the slides. We started yesterday. Yes, we talked about leading positive change for mission. And before we proceed, as we all know, that is myself, Charles Ebhoria Usiholo, the Vice Chancellor, Acad.Snr.Prof.Dr. Chap.Gen.Charles, IIU, Africa Head and Country Director, Dynamic Peace Rescue Mission International, the founder. So let us bless the name of our Lord Jesus Christ by saying our opening prayer for humility. Oh, Father, give us the humility which realizes his ignorance, admits his mistake, recognizes his needs, welcome advice, accepts rebuke. Help us always to praise rather than to criticize, to sympathize rather than to discourage, to build rather than to destroy, to think of people at their best rather than at their worst. This we ask for the name's sake. Amen. We thank God, leading positive change for mission. We are welcoming every one of us in the next slide, welcoming us with handshake. God will come to empower us as we listen attentively. There are some expectations we have. Let us put them down. Those who we feel that we are interested, want one or two questions, put them down. As you put down, I'm telling you, you'll be fulfilled. That's it. Yesterday, we talked about the learning objective. We talked about to learn how to create positive devices in team and organization. We talked about to develop the capability to lead positive change. When we talk about the deviance, we are looking at the rules breaking behavior of some kinds which fails to conform to the norm and expectation of the particular society or social group. Developing the ability to lead positive change. acquire the ability to mobilize the capacity of others in order to actualize, to achieve the positive change. We look at all those ones yesterday, and we also talked about the leadership and positive change. Leader the contest. We talk about the leading positive change. We're also going to look at the case study today and the exercise. The other slide talks about the leadership and positive change, which we are going to look at it holistically today too. The personal reflection, we also look at that too. Recall the time your organization group, executive team, and leaders try to effect a major change in your organization. What was the outcome? What was the outcome? How was the environment then? What was done well? And what could have been done better or differently? Look at that area. So the next slide, by the special grace of God, it tells about myself being a facilitator, why I think I can handle this topic successfully and to the best of my ability. Talked about all those areas I already said, which shows my brief profile, which speaks volumes. We also look at the next slide that talk about the scoring of the diagnostic survey, how to use the survey, leading positive change, reflect on best self, but best self. We talked about that also, to move from healthy to flourishing. We also look at the Marshall-Lism scale that talks about going through the scale items. And the question was asked, or is to be asked, is it Christian to say there are no wrong or right answer? We also identify those that do not conform to Christian principles. We look at that area too. Today we are going to look at it again. In slide 12, we also talked about the skill assessment, whereby when you are looking at when you are looking at how to start, before any exercise is being done, you look at all those areas, you look at it yourself and see the area that you are lacking, the area that you are wanting. And also you look at the other aspect again. How far have you gone? What have you done to show improvements on the performance? All those things we'll look into. We can just look at it briefly, but we will look at it just briefly. When I am in a leadership position, required to lead change, when I'm there, what are those things I take into consideration? You have a scale of references given, a scale of rating. If you're able to take 1, that shows that you have a strong disagreement. If you have, if you choose 2, that shows that you disagree. Scale 3 shows that slightly disagreed. Scale 4, slightly agreed. Scale 5, agreed. And scale 6, strongly agreed. We looked at that area yesterday, and the question was being asked in order to assess 1. When I am in a leadership position required to lead change, 1, I create positive energy in others. When I interact with them, do we actually create it? How can you score yourself from this 1 to 6 we have said? 1, strongly disagree. 2, disagree. 3, slightly disagree. 4, slightly agreed. 5, agreed. And strongly agreed. 6. So you score yourself there. We looked at it yesterday. I know how to unlock the positive energy in other people. I know how to unlock it. You score yourself there. I express compassion towards people who are facing pains and difficulties. Yes, you score yourself there. Actually, which one? Do you strongly believe it? Do you disagree? Do you slightly disagree? Do you slightly agree? Do you agree with that statement? Or do you strongly disagree with that statement? All these are very important I help promote compassionate responses in order when it is appropriate. Score yourself there, which of the scales of rating. You look at that area too. I emphasize a higher purpose or meaning associated with the change I can lead or I'm leading. Look at that area. I forgive others for the harm they may have produced or the mistake they made. I forgive others. Do you actually, you score yourself there? I maintain high standard of performance, even though I am quick to forgive. The language I use encourage virtuous action by people. I express gratitude frequently with small acts or with anything I've been able to do or somebody do for me. I keep track of things that go right, not just things that go wrong. Look at all those areas too. I frequently give other people positive feedback. I emphasize building on strengths, not just overcoming weakness. We look at those areas too. I use a lot of more positive comments than negative comments. I compare my own or my group performance against the highest standard. You're able to look at that area. When I communicate a vision, I capture people's heart as well as their leads, their heads. I work to close abundant gap. Abundant gap. That's the difference between good performance and great performance. I exemplify absolute integrity. Depends on if you score yourself. I know how to get people to commit to my vision or positive change. I take advantage of small win strategy in all my change initiative. I have developed a teachable point of view for subject I care about. Look at that area. Having seen that also, we're able to reflect on the best self-feedback exercise. We looked at all of us can recall our own extraordinary moments. Those moments when we felt that our best self was brought to light, affirmed by others and put into practice. These memories are shared into our minds as moments in which we have felt alive, true to our deepest self, and pursuing our full potential as human beings. Over time, we collect these experiences into a portrait of who we are when we are at our personal best. To help compose a best self-portrait, it is important to draw on the perception of significant others who have unique and valuable insights into our strengths and enduring talents. The reflected best self-feedback exercise creates an opportunity for us to receive feedback regarding who we are, where we are at our best. A detailed explanation of this exercise, including the research that supports its effectiveness in helping people become better leaders. Look at that. We also reflected on the best self-feedback exercise. In the exercise, we will gather information about ourselves from other people who knows you well. In the skill practice section of the chapter, you will be asked to develop a best portrait based on this feedback. This first step is to gather the information. Here is how you go about it. Identify 20 people who knows you well. This may be colleagues, formal or current. Friends, maybe old friends, recent friends, family members, neighbors, class members, or anyone who has had extended contact with you. Think about how you will give you an honest opinion. Think about who will give you an honest opinion. The more diverse the group, the better. Also realize that due to time constraint, everyone may not be able to respond. You need at least 10 responses to complete this part of the assignment so as ask enough people to ensure at least 10 responses, but try for 20. Compose the feedback request. See the example requested below and send it to 20 people you selected. While this request may seem awkward or difficult for you, people have found this assignment to be a profound learning activity, and other people are quite willing to participate in this exercise. You will find that this actually strengthens your relationship in many instances. An example, email request for feedback. That's slide 16. I am taking a course that requires me to construct a profile of my unique strengths. I have been asked to contact 20 people who know me well. I would like to invite you to help me with this exercise. I have to request that each person provide me with 3 stories of when I was at my best. This will require that you think about their interaction with me and identify times when you saw me at my very best. Please provide an example so I can understand the situation and the characteristics you are describing. I've attached some example of what these stories could look like. Please use this only as a guide. That's the request for feedback, the sample of it. And let us look at the feedback examples, what was sent to him, so as to at least justify the positive change. One of the greatest strengths is the ability to get people to work together, to give all they have to a task. For example, I think of the time that we were doing the Alpha projects. We were getting behind and the stress was building. We started to close down and get very focused on such meeting our deadline. You notice that we are not doing your best. You notice that we are not doing our best work and stop the group to rethink our approach. You ask whether we wanted to just satisfy the requirements or whether we wanted to really do good and important work. You reminded us of what we were capable of doing and how each of us could contribute to a better outcome. No one else in that room would have thought to do that. As a result, we did meet the deadline and created a result we all feel proud of you. Another feedback received is one of your greatest strengths is being happy all the time. Being happy all the time. For example, I think of the time that we had just lost the league championship game and we were all really down in the dumps. All of us knew we could have played better and we were really in the fog. You were the one who popped us up and made us feel better, not in a superficial or silly way, but by expressing genuine pleasure at having a chance to play, at being together as friends. I really admire you for being able to see the good in a situation and bringing such a positive person. The third person now sent a message to him also concerning his attitude. One of your greatest strengths is the capacity to persist in face of adversity, to persist. For example, I think of the time that we have passed our deadline on a major report. Frank quit and we were left short-handed. Instead of getting discouraged, you became more focused than I have ever seen anyone get. I think you went 48 hours without sleep. I was amazed you could produce such a quality product under those conditions. Look at that. Slide 19 talks about your feedback to me. Please provide me with the 3 examples of the strengths you observed by completing the following statements. One of your greatest strengths is, for example, I think of the time that, just like we said the other day when he had that information some minutes ago, one of your strengths is, for example, I think the time that, one of your greatest strengths is, for example, I think of the time that. Please email your responses to me by insert a date. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I will be sure to share with you what I learned. When you have obtained this feedback, you will be guided and developing a best self-portrait in the skill practice. Look at that. It's actually help. All these things are very vital to know your best self. You ask your neighbor, you have your friend to tell you about you. You might not know who you are, but by the time you ask people to tell you, they will tell you. There are sometimes you may know who you are, but some other time you might not know. The Machiavellism scale talks about, listed on the next page, on a number of statements. Each represents a commonly held opinion, but there are no right or no wrong answer. In this Machiavellism scale, there is no right, there is no wrong answer. It depends on you, the one you choose. So we are going to analyze it now and see which one. Everybody has their own opinion. It's just neutral. There is no be the right. You might take the right answer. You might take the wrong answer. It depends on you. No wrong answer, no right. It all depends on belief. That's what the scale is all about. Machiavellism scale is a very nice one. It depends on you. So your own opinion, but it's always good to be positive. Indicate the extent to which you are agreed or disagree with each of the items using this scale. What are the scale like? Like +3 talks about agree strongly. +2 talk about agree somewhat. +1 talk about agree slightly. -1 talk about disagree slightly. -2 disagree somewhat. -3 disagree strongly. If you find that the number to be used is answering, do not adequately indicate your own opinion. Use the one which is closest to the way you feel. It's all about your feelings. 1, never tell anyone the real reason you did something unless it is useful to do so. 2, the best way to handle people is to tell them what they want to hear. You have to take your own opinion. One should take action only when sure it is morally right. Most people are basically good, kind, and kind. You either take you agree strongly or you disagree. Depends on you. Most people are basically good and kind. If you agree shortly, you take -3. If you agree somewhat, +2. +1 agree slightly. -1 disagree slightly. -2 disagree somewhat. -3 disagrees strongly. It is safety to assume that all people have vicious streak, and it will come out when they are given a chance. Honesty is the best policy in all cases. There is no excuse for lying to someone else. Generally speaking, people won't work hard unless they are forced to do so. Depends on your own assessments. You agree, strongly agree, that's +3. You agree somewhat, +2. You analyze yourself. Slide 21, telling us about all in all, it is better to be humble and honest than to be important and dishonest. You make your choice among those variables, those skills. When you ask someone to do something for you, it is best to give the real reason for wanting it rather than giving reason which carry more weight. Level, most people who get ahead in the world lead clean, moral lives. 12, anyone who completely trusts anyone else is asking for trouble. 13, the biggest difference between most criminals and other people is that the criminals are stupid enough to get caught. If you agree the statement, +3. If you agree somehow, somewhat, +2. If you agree that statement, slightly, +1. Disagreed is slightly, -1. Disagree somewhat, -2. Disagree strongly, -3. Most people are brave. They are so brave in a way of they are being strong, they are being hard, it depends on you. Do you actually agree that most people are brave? It is wise to flatter important people. You flatter them, you try to make them to be important as if they are not important. You try to praise them. Is it good? It depends on your own. It is possible to be good in all respects. It is possible to be good in all respects. Bannon was wrong when he said that there is a stalker born every minute. It is hard to get ahead without cutting corners here and there. People suffering from incurable diseases should have the choice of being put painlessly to death. Look at that. Some people may agree strongly, somewhat, slightly. Some people may disagree slightly. Some people may disagree somewhat, and some people may disagree strongly. Depends on you. So that is why this martialism skill is something we can't just say Christian may agree the right one based on their moral. Some that are not Christian may agree based on their moral. Everything has to do with you. But in the best area, it's good to believe the truth, do what is worth doing, so as to justify your mind, your conscience, so that you can move ahead. We look at slide 22, talks about leading positive change. We were able to look at it yesterday. In that area now, we look at the area of a positive climate. Keep your thoughts positive because your thought becomes your words. Keep your words positive because your word becomes your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habit. Keep your habit positive because your habit becomes your values. Keep your values positive because your values becomes your destiny. Kudos to our late brother Gandhi. He was the one that said this statement, and thank God for him. He's resting in peace. Let us look at the area. Slide 23 talks about leading positive change. Yes. Establishing a climate of positivity. Establishing a climate of possibility. Everything that is positive, looking at the positive aspect of it, is always very good. You create a positive energy network. How do you do that? You place positive energizers in place where others can interact with them and be influenced by them. A modern positive energy yourself. At least you yourself must be positive. You have that positive energy. You also recognize and reward positive energizers. All those people that will reward them is very, very, very important too. You provide opportunity for people to form close friendship at work. Very, very important. You ensure a climate of compassion, forgiveness, and gratitude. How do you do that? We were able to look at it yesterday. Enable collective noticing of human concern. Must have human feeling, human concern. You bring these people together. Enable the expression of collective emotion. People should have that emotion. You bring them together. They express their emotion so that we'll be able to settle matter. Enable the collective responding to difficulties, pains, and distress. Publicly and personally acknowledge trauma and harms. Acknowledge them. We should not just reject them. Acknowledge them and treat them accordingly. Identify higher purpose outcomes that people can point towards. You identify that those things that you are doing, the organization is doing, people can point to it, good things. Maintain high standard and look towards the future after mistake. Provide personal support to people who have been harmed. People that have been harmed, they have been attacked. They have been caused, they have been put to worriness, to thinking. You provide support for them. Paying attention to language so that the virtues words are acceptable. Yes, some words should be, language should be used. Good language should be used in organization, not to cause commotion. Express gratitude frequently. Any small matter that comes to you, at least you appreciate. Very good. Keep track of the things that go right, not just that go wrong. You keep track of the good things that goes right. 25, we were able to talk about that yesterday. Establishing a climate of positivity. We need to identify and give people feedback on their strengths, their unique competencies. How do we do that one? Implementing a reflected best self-feedback process. Spend the most time with the strongest performance. Work to capitalize on the strengths rather than focusing on outcome, focusing on overcoming weaknesses. Work to capitalize on the strength rather than focusing on overcoming weaknesses. You look at the strength of that person, not the weakness. You try as much as at least he has some potential in him. You use that person rather than looking at his weakness. Every one of us, we are not perfect. We have our shortcomings. We have our weakness. We manage ourselves. But look at the strength in that person. That's the only area you can help that person out. You can absorb that person. You can be friendly with that person. If you're looking at the weakness, I'm telling you, we hate yourself. There'll be fight. There'll be chaos. Slide 26 talks about leading positive change. We need to create readiness for change. You must be ready for change. If you're not ready for change, how will you be able to create that readiness? How do you do that? On benchmark, best practices, by comparative standards, by goal standard, by improvement standard, by ID standard, and by stakeholders' expectation. We also look at the area of leading positive and creating readiness for change. We need to institute symbolic events. This is an event used to signify a new feature. Example of the Christmas and the Lakokas ceremony to inspire a new era by burning the Wonka to signify how not to work in the future company. We also create a readiness for change. We need to create a new language to describe old realities. Example of how the Disney employees are called, the cast members, their uniform are costumes towards that to differentiate them. And slide 27 tells us about leading positive change. We need to articulate a vision of abundance by focusing on creating positive devices rather than correcting negative differences. How do we do that one? We focus on positivity. We focus on possibilities more than the probabilities by focusing on the extraordinary, spectacular achievements rather than just winning or being seen as successful. We also articulate a vision of abundance by leading to positive change. We need to include live brain images by asking the following question: what are our most important strengths as an organization? Where do we have a strategic advantage? What major problem, obstacle do we face? What stands in the way of significant importance? What are the primary resources that we need? What information is required? Who are our key customers? What must be done in response to customer expectation? What measures, measurable outcomes will be accomplished? And what are the criteria to monitor? These are the things we ask in an area where we say we are looking at the left brain images. In slide 28, talks about the leading positive change. We need to articulate a vision of abundance by including the right brain images, by asking the following question. What are the questions like? What is the best? What is the best we can achieve? What represents peak performance? What story or event can we tell about characteristics? What we stand for? What metaphors and analogies can we use that we identify what the future of our organization will look like? What symbols are appropriate for helping capture people's imagination? What colorful and inspirational language can exemplify what we believe in? Articulating a vision of abundance, making the vision interesting by challenging weakly held assumption. Weakly held assumption, all those assumptions that doesn't develop, that doesn't shows that doesn't bring the image of the organization, that are weak. All those challenges, we try to challenge them. All those assumptions people assume in an organization, people will say some wrong things. We try to correct them, making sure that they know the right things. Then we are looking at, we are articulating a vision of abundance. In slide 29, we look at the leading positive change. We need to articulate a vision of abundance by ensuring credibility of the vision through demonstrating knowledge regarding the implication of the vision, integrity in enhancing to consistent set of principles. Our principles must be consistent. They should know us by our principles, not to be negative, cool, or hot. All those areas, your principles should be known by the people. Enthusiasm on personal passion for the vision. Everybody must have personal passion for the vision to come to reality. Association with core personal values must be looked into in order to articulate the vision of abundance. A straightforward and simple message should be exciting and energizing languages. These are the things. By the time you are doing all this one, you are really articulating, you are making everybody happy. You are focusing on the positive things, articulating a vision of abundance so that there will be a positive change. We need to attach the vision to a symbol to constantly remind people of the vision by creating visual images such as a logo, flags, or signs. Make certain that the vision, the visual symbol, is closely associated with the vision so as to remain a constant reminder to them, for them to know that, look, what is going on. They will be able to appreciate it, that yes. In slide 30, we look at leading positive change. We need to generate commitments to the vision by applying the following principles. The principle of recreation to work associated with the vision in the area of clearly defined goals. Ensure that the stock keeping is objective, self-administered, peer audited, and compared to past performance. We also ensure frequent and continuous feedback. There must be feedback. We provide opportunity for personal choice. We don't enforce things to people, personal choice. As far as they are taking things that are okay, you yourself know whether it's not okay, you know how to correct them by warning, by all those areas. Ensure that the rules are consistent, not just change, which doesn't change. Provide a competitive environment, provide it. That shows really that you are being committed to positivity. Provide opportunity for people to publicly commit to the vision by holding events where people can verbally express themselves, show their commitment. Ask people to teach others about or recruit others to sign up for the vision. And in slide 31, we look at the area of leading positive change. We need to generate commitments to the vision by institute a strategy or small wins. How do we do that? Find something easy to change it, popularize it, and repeat the process multiple times. Communicate the vision frequently. By so doing, you are generating commitments to the vision, which will result to positive change. How do we do that one? Never give a public speech or presentation without measuring the vision. Make certain that all your written messages contain references to the vision. Avoid changing messages. Slide 32. Leading positive change, we need to institutionalize the vision and creating reversible momentum. How do we do that? By turning students into teachers. How? Provide opportunity for people to develop a teachable point of view and make certain that others are required to articulate the vision themselves. If you have any question, feel free to put it on the platform. We'll be able to look at it together. Build human capital by ensuring training and development opportunities for others so that they can be leaders of positive change. Encourage the formation of network and friendship that provide support. Identify mysteries and measures and milestones. Doing this, you are institutionalizing the vision and creating reversible momentum. How? Identify when measurable progress will be achieved. Identify what the specific criteria will be for evaluating success. Determine how successful achievement of the vision will be ascertained. Maintain accountability for the success of the positive change. All these are very important. And we are able to look at that scoring key number 33, slide 33. We talk about the scoring key, of which I said I will be addressing it today, so that we'll be able to look at it objectively and holistically. When you look at it now, we have, when you talk about leading positive change assessment, there are 3 skills you get here, 3 areas you are going to look at. The skills, what are those areas? It's well spelled there. We look at the personal capability to lead personal change, to lead the what? Positive change. Look at that area. When we go to the slide of yesterday that tells us about the assessment, which we also do, which we did earlier. Look at number 2. Number 2 says, item 2, from those assessments, he said, I know how to unlock the positive energy in other people. Such person, now you can now see that person has that personal capability to lead positive change. When you look at 3 now, I express compassion towards people who are facing pain and difficulties. Can I see that person has what? Personal capability to lead positive change. The same thing with 5. Emphasize a high purpose or meaning associated with the change I am leading. That person has that personal capability to lead positive change. And when we look at that 20 over there, we look at, I have developed a teachable point of view for such I care about. Look at another skill of leading positive change assessment, ability to mobilize others towards positive change. When you look at number 1 of the assessment, it talks about I create positive energy in others when I interact with them. Number 4, I help promote compassionate responses in order when it is appropriate. That person has a ability to mobilize others towards positive change. You look at number 8, the language I use encourage virtuous action by people. When you look at that, he has the ability to mobilize people towards personal change. And number 11, I frequently give other people positive feedback. That person has the ability to mobilize others towards possible change. And when you look at the 3 skills, the third one, capacity to create positive difference in organization. You can now see number 14 is showing I compare my own or my group. I compare them, their performance against the highest standards. 18, I know how to get people to commit to my vision of positive change. That person has the capacity to create positive difference in an organization. I also look at number 18, I know how to get people to commit to my vision of possible change. He has that capacity, that gift. When we also look at the personal reflection, 34, we are recall a time when your organization group executive team and leaders tried to effect a major change in the organization. What was the outcome? And what was done well? What could have been done better or differently? Look at that area. Scoring of diagnostic survey, how to use survey, leading positive change, which we have just done earlier. And also the area of reflected best self-move from healthy to flourishing. We have done that one. Marshalism scale, we have also done that one. There are some words you use. Is it Christian? Is the other one the principle? It doesn't conform to the principle of Christian or not Christian. All those things are looked into earlier. When you look at slide 36 now, let us do some exercise. Let's cross our arms. Cross your hand. Yes, and see. Just cross and think a while. Fold your arm as though bored or waiting for something. Just close it as if you are waiting for something, you are expecting something. For 2 minutes. Yes, as if you are being bored. Now fold your arm the opposite way. Let's meditate over it. Opposite, what comes into you? Now a question is being asked. Discussion question. How did you feel when you were asked to cross your arm the other way? How do you feel? You may feel somehow. What is this person saying? Did it come naturally, or did you have to stop and think about it? What are something that makes people resistant to change? There are certain things people, when you want them to change, they don't want to. They feel that what they are operating, what they are getting, they want it. They don't want change. What are those things you think that make people to resist, that they don't want to change? Put it on the chat box. We look at also slide 37. 37, it talks about organization and change. Organization and change. Organization guideline provide organization management slide system What are we trying to say there? We are looking at the members as subject to constant changes. Constant changes in the area of actually change from one area to the other. Maybe one who is volunteering, you may want to volunteer in an organization, you may come to volunteer. There must be, probably you were once a member of that organization, but this time I want to volunteer. You want to be a member of the committee. You want to be a staff member. Maybe as far as you are leading, there's a tenure. One we actually get to that the tenure will now expired. All these are the cause change. People don't want to leave. People want to, they just feel that no, they don't know. There's always time for everything. You may say this time around, I want to volunteer. You may say this time around, I want to be a staff. I want to be in one of the committee, but the committee will still end. Doesn't mean you'll be there all the time. So where we are there, when we are there, let us try to bring legacy, a value. At least let us be happy. There's time for everything. The organizational guidelines are meant to provide organizational stability for members so that they can experience growth through doing routine tasks faster and more effectively in the service of advancing the kingdom of God. It is always good. In slide 38, we look at the area of leadership and versus management. In leadership area, we look at the leaders. They set direction. Leaders set directions. Yes, they set directions. They initiate change. And they do what? They create something new. You see, as far as you're a leader, you set direction. A leader that is not setting direction is not a leader. He's not a good leader. A leader must also do what? Initiate change. If you look at the environment, what is going on, initiate change. So as to be a good leader. And a leader also do what? Create something new. There must be new things, innovations to things. Why? What does the manager does? Managers, they maintain steadiness. As far as they have been instructed, they maintain steadiness. They control variances. They keep the status quo. They keep it as far as they are instructed to do. They keep it. When you look at slide 39, it talks about the organization are designed to favor stability. Look at that. Slide 39. Organizations are designed to favor stability and predictable outcomes. They predict outcomes. Leaders who create change, create disruptions. Leaders who create change, create disruptions. Positive change focus on unlocking positive human potential, creating abundance and human well-being. Change is a continuum. What do I mean by that? Positive devices, healthy performance, negative devices, organizational illness. When we look at that, slide 40, slide 40 talks about the individual, psychological, talk about the negative devices, talk about the normal and the positive. Psychological, when we look at the medical research, look at all those areas. When you look at the area of negativity devices, you look at the illness, you look at the health in the normal, organizational and managerial, revenue, effectiveness, efficiency, quality, ethics, relationship, adaptation. All these are being looked into from an individualistic approach. You look at the negative devices, you look at the area of profitability, effectiveness, inefficiency, error probe, unethical, conflictual, look at the threatening heredity. In the normal area, you look at the profitability, you look at the effectiveness, you look at the efficiency, you look at the reliable, you look at the ethical, you look at the compatible, you look at the coping. When you talk of the positive deficiencies, you look at the area of generosity, all those excellency, extraordinary, flawlessness, virtual, caring, flourishing. The deficiency gap, the abundant gap, which we really said earlier. All these are very important in changing. When you look at slide 41, it talks about positive change. When you talk of policies, positive change, you look at focuses on unlocking positive human potential. Positive change focuses on creating abundance and human being well-being. You look at the area of engaging the arts as well as the mind. Positive change, look at this, the heart and the mind, not the head. These are the truth picture of things, positive change. You talk from the heart, you talk from your mind, not from the head. If the mind is not giving you what you're supposed to give, the head will not say it. It is what is in the mind that the head will keep bring out. And the head, the composition of the head includes the mouth, whereby you can talk it out. What is in your heart? What is in your mind? The head comprises the eyes, how you look. All these are matters to things. The way you look, the way you talk, the way you hear, these are the heads. But before the head will be good, the mind and the heart and the mind will be more than good. That is why everything will start from the mind and the heart. Positive change enable people experience appreciation, enable people experience collaboration, vitality, meaningfulness in their work. When there's positive change, as I rightly said, positive change look at the engage the heart as well as the mind, focuses on the creating abundance and human well-being, focuses on the unlocking positive human potentials. You cannot see, you'll be able to appreciate. By the time you have that positive change, you'll be able to appreciate things. You're able to collaborate with people. You don't need to be hiding your talent or you feel you can do it. You cannot. This is what the SDG said, collaboration. Positive change brings about vitality, brings about meaningfulness in the workplaces. So we must work together for positive change. Positive change is key. When we look at slide 42, talks about the frustration and the appreciation. You can now see how frustration is frustrating from the diagram. You can see the full way frustration, frustrating. You see, when you are doing all those areas doesn't speak well, the heart remains in frustration and in gratitude condition. Look at the appreciation area, gratitude. You can see how it's going up. The way it moves, finds constantly, doing well. But the other one, frustration, brings sadness, brings bitterness, all those areas, doesn't speak well. That's how the heart goes. So let us always appreciate so that things will work out well. So I'll be looking at the positive point of view in analyzing things. So we ourselves will be healthy, will be fine, since we are appreciating. Review and conclusion. We look at the area, what we have done so far from yesterday, that's slide 43. Look at that aspect and see how we are going to compose ourselves. What do we actually, any question, any review? We would like to have it in the chat box. Feel free to open up concerning what you have been experiencing, what you have been able to see. You are free to say one or two things so that we look at it very well and know how to address things. It's always good to be positive to things. Look at 43, 44, leading positive change, which you already said. And we look at the framework of positive change. We have said that one, establish a positive climate, which we really stress. Look at the institutionalizing the change, creating readiness, generate commitments, articulating a vision. And to create a positive climate by focusing on persons or organizations' uniqueness. Persons' uniqueness. You don't need to look at other things. What are the person's uniqueness? Look at the uniqueness of the person, the strength of the person, the competence of the person. And the weakness is just low. The highest one is the uniqueness, followed by the strength, how competent is the person. The weakness is the low, the last one. But it's always good to look at the uniqueness of that person, the strengths and the competence of that person, so as to create a positive climate, focusing on the person, the organizational uniqueness. Any clarification, any question to that? We also look at the area of the slide 49. Organizational leaders have the responsibility to be effective manager and leaders of positive change. I've come that you may have life and have it in abundance. As far as you are being positive to things, that is where our Lord comes to help, to have that life abundance. By the time you think positively, your heart and your mind will be around with God's tone, with God's vision. You see things will be working fine. Any situation you find yourself, you thank God for it. You'll be able to thank God when you are being positive in your working, in your endeavor. You always thank God, appreciate God. We need positive change by creating a positive climate, creating a readiness for change, articulating a vision of abundance, generating commitment, and institutionalizing the vision by creating reversible momentum. That's in slide 49, which we have been saying all the while. Now, what will you start doing as a result of what you learned today? What will you start doing? What will you do differently as a result of what you learned today? What will you stop doing as a result of what you learned today? All this call for examination of conscience, trying to make sure you are being positive from what we have said from yesterday and today. And slide 51 talks about the review and the conclusion. Whatever question you have, put it on the chat box. You have any clarification, any question, any contribution, put them on the chat box. We're going to treat them. International Internship University, IIU, is a leading visual education system and a global brand configuration, which is the most viable and trusted worldwide and well reputed in delivering innovative programs. Globally, it is a trusted name for quality training program that is committed to providing better and visual education to all the younger learners of the globe. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wings in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visual founder, advocate, Piyush Pandisa, a committed visionary and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationalist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. Many students lack the opportunity of quality education when they opt for the skill and learning-based virtues. IIU provide the perfect opportunity for those students who want to pursue their studies and want to research in the field of technology, science, and social humanity. We aim at providing internship along with a golden chance of completing their diploma and professional degree virtually with no fee and at their home. This opportunity will allow the student to gain experience and get guidance from mentors from their respective nation. We believe that students can advance any course and degree without wasting their money on transportation or any other unnecessary charges, that we have full access to the online lectures. Students can finish their graduation or courses in 3 or 5 years without visiting the campus physically. IIU made it possible for every curious learner to benefit from its credit and non-credit system to finish their undergraduate UG or postgraduate PG degree while offering an excessive of choice from them. It will be a gateway of success to their desire. We open the door for everyone at a global level who would love to avail the courses virtually and would admire those who cease their studies for various purposes to achieve excellence in the field of virtual education at an affordable price and free education for the undergraduates, reaching every child at every doorstep across the world. IIU is unique. IIU is the best. IIU should be appreciated by all. Thanking God and appreciating God, IIU and all our team for the noble occasion IIU, the world digital and first virtual international internship university in the chain, offering over 1,000 students of international students, providing mentor and guidance for all those seeking and enhance their skill, career, and enterprise. We need to appreciate God for everything. God is so good that we have someone like a Piyush Pandit, a very good advocate. May God come to spare his life and give him good health of mind and body. So we need to close up today, thanking you all and all our listeners, supporters. May God continue to empower us as we continue to empower others. Thank you, everybody who are friendship with IIU. Closing prayer. Dear Lord, teach me to be always true and honest in my emotions, in my ways, in my action. Give me the courage to do what is right and noble in your sight, so I can be a humble instrument to reflect your light. Amen. Thank you very much. I need to appreciate you, Sister Professor Nada. May God come to strengthen you for your good work. May God come to strengthen all our core members, every one of us that are listening. God come to strengthen us and spare our life. Thank you very much, Professor Nada. Thank you, everybody, for listening.